Welcome back to the Within podcast. This is your host, Nikki Wallace, and co host, Allie Sartain. We welcome you. I know that everything looks a little different around here. So we're excited to continue the podcast and talk about the Potential Within event that we can't believe was just
Already
almost
almost
a
a
month
month.
ago.
Yeah.
And all of the things. So life keeps evolving and things keep shifting as we continue to learn and grow and all the things. So we're excited to kick things off, I
Yeah.
guess. So where
Kind
do
of
you
a new
wanna
chapter,
I
really.
know,
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, geez, the summer has been crazy. So my daughters and I actually got the opportunity to move down to the Ozarks for the summer and live closer to our family.
Yeah.
My sister, Allie, obviously lives a couple hours away. We have two other siblings that live in the Ozarks. Parents live in the Ozarks. So it's been a wild, wild June.
Yes. I feel like there's between the two of us, we have like more changes and more new adventures and everything happening that it's made time go by so fast since the event. So,
Yeah.
but what an impactful day.
Yeah. So let's talk about the event. So I'm like, I don't even know where to start because it's just, this has just been such a dream of mine. And I really think back to where this even started and why. I had a lot of people, what is this event and why aren't you an HR consultant
Mhm.
and what are all the things? And I think I keep going back to just my own personal journey that I've had kind of up to this point and kind of where that's led me and the roads it's taken me down and the people I've gotten to meet and the things I've learned. Holy cow, have I learned in the past 5 years? So I started the People Co. 5 years ago. We started actually just as NMW consulting because I had to make an LLC in about 5 minutes, and my husband said, pick a name. So it's
Stuck.
even the company over the last 5 years has evolved. But personally, and I know if you've been following me, I went down this whole journey, and I'm starting here because I think Allie and I keep talking about like the community aspect of what we felt that day in the room. The second Potential Within event. And it really was when I was going through all of my health things, it was just such a lonely space. And I think we don't talk about, the mental game of some of the things that women in particular, just we're women, we're going through this, kind of what women go through and what, then you put like health issues and chronic illness and, whatever people are going through on top of it. And it changes your perspective. It changes, your day to day. And for me, it really changed some of the mental aspect of who I was and what I was going through because I was just surviving for so long. So it's like you heal or you go through whatever is happening, but then you're still having some of the mental stuff. So the main goal for me with the Potential Within was to really create a safe space and community that people can go to, whether you're supporting someone that's going through a journey or you're going through a journey on your own because we all are.
Yeah.
We,
Right.
some of us might not have the crazy journey, and we talked about this at the event that some of us have had from like a health perspective, but everybody's experiencing this human experience, I guess is the way you can say it, and it's hard to do it alone. So how do we create a safe space that we can continue to learn and talk about some of the things that like we were sitting here talking earlier that our mom, like, we're gonna try and get her on the the podcast to talk about some of the things that, she talked about or
Yeah.
did or didn't do,
Right.
kind of in her generation, but there's no reason that we have to go through all of this alone anymore, and that was really my number one goal of the Potential Within, and we've definitely felt that at the event. So I don't know if you
Yeah.
have any thoughts on community. Your table all day was blowing up with people doing epigenetic scans and all of that, but
I mean, I think I had two, really big takeaways from the event. The first one being as I over the years have attended retreats and traveled and gone to classes and really tried to surround myself with people who, weren't just wanting to learn and do better, but they were going through similar things.
yep.
I think that there's something really powerful about that. And I think it really makes you feel kind of seen and it lets you drop your guard down. And when that happens, I think some magic starts to begin. You start to see yourself in a new light and really wonder, what could come of all of this? How could I grow? And what can I learn?
Mhm.
All of that. And so for me, the day was really special because All the women were there not to make $1 million or to get super fit or to, do some of this stuff. They simply just wanted to understand themselves
Yep.
more. I always joke
And their
that,
families. I think we had a
yeah,
lot of questions about kids and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's, first, I think always the question is like, how can you show up and take better care of yourself? And
Mhm.
it's a trickle effect. Like, anyone who has young children or anything like that, it's monkey see, monkey do. They're constantly watching you.
1,000%.
Yeah. And so it's like, how can we not only take better care of ourselves, but that trickle down into everyone else? So for me to be in that kind of power surrounded by all those women, that's absolutely huge.
Mm,
But my second takeaway was, I am going through my own personal growth
mhm.
experience. And you and I are both sitting here not because we wanted to talk about, our nervous system or supplementation
Right.
and stuff like that. We got to this space because of our own experiences. And, I went from a career that I did for 20 years and leaving, the beauty industry to speak on wellness. And I was so intimidated. Nikki actually asked me to join the event in the last fall for the first
Mhm.
one. And I was not in a good headspace.
You bailed on me.
I did bail.
Huh,
I
what the
did. It's
hell?
something I'm also working on. But I wasn't ready for it. And you do have to be ready to meet these
Yeah.
conversations, and it is different. It will open you up to a completely different way of viewing yourself in the world and other people, which could
Mhm.
be triggering in some ways. But for me it was, going in a space where I didn't know if I belonged, feeling
Mhm.
imposter syndrome, which I think we all go
We've
through.
both gone through that, yeah,
So
for
it's
sure.
so natural, and then to get on stage and to speak, I used to bail and, like, call in sick on days when I'd have to, like, get in front of the class and talk, so that I literally put
Truth
that
comes
on.
out. Dad, are you listening to
Yeah.
this?
So the fact that I literally put that on my vision board this year was to put myself in more spaces like that, and I think this is just the beginning. So it's not just about empowering yourself, it's who you're bringing along with you and doing it together as a united front. I know there's nothing more powerful than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so for me, so obviously community, like, we felt that. It was kinda cool. I told one of my mentors, like, this was the first time an event I've hosted a lot of events. I like to party. I was always the one that liked. So
Nothing wrong with that.
the fact that I am now hosting, like, all these big events is kinda cool, but it was the first time I really got to sit back and watch, like, there was a lot of times in the day, that I just kind of sat in the back and, like, watched
Mhm.
it all unfold and watched. We had a journey card where people could go around, and the goal was they got all the your punch cards off of, going through the vendor village and also the reset room so that people could get to interact with all the vendors. I think we ended up having 18 vendors there,
Yeah, there
17
was a good amount of
vendors.
people
Yeah,
there.
there was a
Yeah,
lot.
it was really fun.
But the goal was that, everybody could go around, introduce themselves, learn more about all the resources that we really had right here in our community. I think, Allie, you're the only one that was probably like a
Yep.
virtual. A lot of the people there offer virtual services, but, that was another goal of my, like, coming, how do we bring some of these smaller clinics or practitioners together so that people know the resources that are right here in our communities, but it was fun to just, like, sit back and kind of watch everybody go from table to table and learn, and truly, I do think that's something we added from, last year, and I do think that was, like, a good way to get people really to go and engage and understand kind of that they could try modalities in the reset room. So, we had awesome, awesome practitioners in the reset room. Allie was doing epigenetic testing. We had Serendipity Spa was doing, like, literal, like, speaking consciously. I don't know.
That.
I'm still learning I've known Mel forever, and I'm still learning exactly how she, what she calls it and how she explains it, but that was amazing. We had, Resonate Healing, Hannah Rush, she
Yeah.
was doing breath work, and
My
she did a sound
favorites.
bath at the
Yeah.
end. The sound bath was
It
amazing.
was really cool. Well, I think like an intimidating thing when you're getting into this, or if these are, whether they're new or not,
Yep.
ideas to you, it can be very overwhelming and
Yes.
intimidating.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one really
Like
nice to
trying to take down that barrier.
have the modalities and have these people that work this, field every single day so that you can ask the questions in real life. You can experience a
Yeah.
taste of what it is. And, I know after that sound bath, everyone's like, I felt that.
I know.
Like
That sound
it
bath
was
was crazy.
powerful.
Like,
Yeah.
Hannah Rush,
She's
you need to
amazing.
do
I love
that.
that
Like, I'm getting
family.
goosebumps now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had her mom did the healthy happy hour, so Carrie Rush with fresh wheatgrass
And her
straw.
dad was even, like,
Her
jamming out with her
dad
on
was there.
stage.
I
I'm like,
know.
"I'll see you guys at Christmas."
But it's like the sound. So the goal with all of these modalities, and we had Vivid there. They were doing lab work. We had Kaizen Wellness there. They were doing. He had the. Did you try that? The steel plates,
I didn't get a chance
tempered.
to
Oh
I
yeah,
wish
you.
I could have, yeah, but it
Um,
was fun.
yeah, and then we had the Courtney there with Revive. She was doing the
Dry
dry
needling?
needling. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
could
wanted
never
to
like.
really experience
Yeah,
that
she was
one.
really busy too. So the goal with some of those is like some of those things you can do sound healing, right? Like you can do that breath work. Like those are simple things that you can integrate into your day. So I think when people think about wellness and well-being, like it's, oh, I got to spend $1,000 with this chiropractor or whatever. And it's like, no, there's a lot of
Right,
things you can integrate into your day. And we're both, living proof that some of those things,
right.
nutrition. But so I love Carrie Rush, what she's doing with fresh wheatgrass and like the
Yeah,
whole everybody,
yeah,
like a lot of people don't love. I think this was the first time that I took that shot and I was like, the wheatgrass. So there's 6 pounds of vegetables on a wheatgrass shot. And her story is just amazing. Her mom was there, that like is the whole reason she started
yeah,
her business. But it was like, oh, I actually kind of like this. So maybe my taste
yeah.
buds have finally,
Yeah, I
after
think
all
they
these years,
said it changes
changed.
every, like, 7
7 days.
days, which
Yeah.
is fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, it was awesome. It was fun to be able to see the practitioners. A lot of the
Yeah,
practitioners that spoke were also in the vendor village and or the reset room. So anyway, it was just an awesome day for learning and education. I think the other thing that is awesome about this event is, and you kind of alluded to this, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in your journey. Like
mhm.
we had women there, and we also had men. We actually had a handful of men,
Yep,
which I loved.
yeah, same.
Uh, but we like one of my friends who owns a company, she's a pharmacist. She's been a pharmacist for 20 years. We had executives in the room from big companies in the Des Moines area. We had, HR professionals, we had, business owners, we had all different like backgrounds of people
Mm,
really. And we had some people in there that they knew a lot about well-being or wellness. And we had some that were like, hey, I'm just here because I know Nikki or I know Allie or I
right,
know someone that was involved, and I wanted to support you guys. So that's one thing I do love about the event, and because of that, we felt had a hard time marketing because it's like, how do you
yeah,
market to kind of whoever? But it was fun to be able to see all of those people
right,
come together. Lawyers, we had, I mean, just all different types of people were in the room. We ended up having about 100 people in total, which was awesome, about
yeah,
25% more than we had last year.
that
So
was a great group.
yeah, fun takeaways. I'm excited to see kind of where we go next, and
Mm,
I think we continue to evolve as we get feedback. And we had NCMIC was a huge support for this event, which is amazing. I'm gonna meet with them too and continue to kind of see
yeah,
their ideas and thoughts. They do a lot in this well-being space. So they've been a huge support and huge, just good people to be able to talk to and learn from them and what they see in our market from like a national view on the kind of a different view, like a different lens with the lobbying and everything they do from a naturopath's perspective. But
yeah.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's like, we were gonna, get a game plan and we had all these visions of how we wanted things to play out after the event. And as we said earlier, life kind of happened, but we don't, exactly know what this looks like or have a clear path. But after that day, like all we kept talking about is, these are such important
yeah,
conversations and ones that need to be had. So that's why we're jumping on here and continuing the podcast because, like we said, both of us have had our own stories, our own trials, our own triumphs, like all of it. And we
mhm,
know at the end of the day that we only got to this space and out on the other side because we had someone bring us along. We
yeah.
had a practitioner say, hey, like that isn't
Finally,
normal.
listen. Yeah,
Yeah. Or like you're validated in how you feel. There's a reason behind it. I think for me, that was a really big thing is understanding the why. And so that's why we're here because we're not experts. We just have so much lived experience and I have spent thousands of hours speaking with women though, so I do think I should get like some sort of certification for that. Like I'm like
what would you like that certification?
like a therapist in a maybe not clinical sense, but
I do feel like you hair cosmetologist people, you probably hear it all.
it is a thing. But it's also made me want to not just do hair anymore, which I absolutely love and am so grateful for the years of doing that. But the mission became so much bigger because I have sat with women when they have gone through, hard times with raising kids or finding themselves. I've
Mhm.
had women go through divorces, deaths. I mean, it's life. And as heavy as it can all be, I think the best thing you can do is have like minded people surrounding you. So that's what we're here to be for all of you is maybe a voice of reason, not that. That we're definitely not
That's
that.
scary that you're considering yourself a voice of reason.
Okay, maybe like your biggest cheerleader to give you the tools
As
and
we talked about Allie being the one getting in trouble our entire life this last
you
weekend,
did.
I just was good at
Oh,
reading the room.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and as I kind of alluded to the whole like market and who is this for, and like as we continue the podcast and I continue my work in the HR field's not going away. Allie's work in the
Yeah,
trichology field is that what I call it?
yeah,
The trichology
trichology, that
field. It's
yeah,
not going
you
away.
nailed it.
But we were talking about it's like, okay, well, what are the commonalities of the people I just listed in that room? Like, what are the commonalities of us? And I think it truly does go back to the belief that no one should have to like go through any of this. I mean, I was literally going to TikTok and trying to figure out what's going on with me because there was no one I felt like I could talk to, and I'm like, that just doesn't need to happen for anybody. Not that it was bad, and I was grateful for those resources, but how do we continue to create that safe space?
And I think something too that I learned and is that and I felt it too, right? Like when you're going through something and you feel like you're the only one, figuring out being a mom and being frustrated with that season of life, or you're the only one who's having gut issues, or you're the only one whose hair is falling out, there's an interesting fact that I'm going to read because I don't want it to, but our brains actually interpret isolation as danger. And so the connection is one of the fastest ways to create safety in our body. And that's why when, we stepped into why the potential within event was
Mhm.
so powerful because it, dropped your walls and it allows you to feel safe enough to
Yeah.
receive and to learn and grow. And so that's maybe more what we want to be versus the voice of reason.
Yeah. Voice of reason, bad example.
Bad example.
Maybe thoughtful.
But I'm
Or
like every major, breakthrough that I have had has come because someone else has
yeah.
believed in
No,
me,
I agree.
and before I believed in myself. And so that's, I think, one of the most powerful things that you can have.
Yeah. I know. I feel like that's been my mantra throughout the 5 years of being an entrepreneur is like,
Yeah.
make sure you surround yourself with people that believe in you because holy geez, there's a lot of
Right.
days that you don't believe in yourself.
Everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would say, I mean, going through life in general, there's just, I mean, to have other people to talk to or have those
Right.
couple of people that you can rely on. And it's scary to me, I think, in our technology and data driven world that we live in, that there's just not a lot of safe. And I don't know, I was even on like a Facebook thing this morning and it was like everybody just was so mean about some of
Yeah.
these posts. And I'm just like, man, like what is happening? But
Yeah.
anyway, so more to come. We're excited. Obviously, we have two very different backgrounds, and we have very different worlds that we've come from. It's kind of
Yes.
interesting as we've continued on our journeys, like professionally. There's like Allie will come on meetings or like be on calls and she'll be like, oh my God, this is what happens in the corporate world. And then vice versa. I go over to her world and I'm like, where's my calendar invite? Because nobody sent me anything. So,
Very
I mean,
different.
we definitely come from different worlds, but I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of commonalities that HR, obviously, like I'm working with people of organizations of all kind all day. And you see, you maybe don't have as much candid
Yeah.
conversations as Allie might be having with somebody behind the chair, but at the end of the day, we're all again living this human experience. So we hope that we can be a part of all of yours. So more to come on what is going on with the potential within and the People Co. and Main Oasis, Allie's company. But we hope that we can continue to bring thought and just conversation. And we're not going to get it right all the time. Most of the stuff we know is just learned experience,
Yeah.
like Allie said. And that's why I love that I've gotten into some of the practitioner world and gotten to know some of the educated
Yeah.
naturopaths or RNs or NPs. You name the designation. I feel like I'm always learning from the people that I've met along my journey. So
Well, and I feel
make
like
sure to
I've
bring them on.
too is the people that do work in these fields, I don't think I've ever met one who has like snubbed me, made me feel
No,
stupid, or not
never.
wanted to help me. And
Yeah,
it's because again, they came from a space where they needed that. So
yeah,
as intimidating as it is to kind of break open into some of the stuff where this world is, there's like such an incredible, powerful group of people that are a part of it. And
yeah.
so that's always the really neat thing about it too.
So follow along. Allie and I both have shared our stories kind of on how we've gotten more so even than what we're sharing here in the different podcasts. So I'm going to link those in the story notes or story notes, the show notes. We're losing our minds. The show notes. So if you care to go listen to either of those, that kind of gives you more insight to our personal journeys that kind of have gotten us where they're from a wellness standpoint or a health standpoint. But otherwise, we'll hope to see you next week on the Next Within podcast.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
See you next time.